Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Breeders Cup preview. Today, we will still be focusing on the dirt, but we will be looking at the slightly less prestigious, although still very prestigious in their own right. We've got the Distaff. We'll begin with them. We'll go on to the sprint, then the filly and mare sprint, and we'll finish with the dirt mile. And slightly new format today. Daniel's gone through the hard work of copying essentially the odds checker data onto a words spreadsheet, talking about the horse, talking about their best price from odds checker, which bookmaker that's with, and then also speaking about their likelihood of running as signified by the column on the right. So yeah, slightly new format, also a slightly new location for me and a slightly new angle. I'm currently at home with just a mobile, so at home being back up at my parents' home. So yeah, apologies for the view of the chin and also the quite hoarse voice and probably even more bumbly than normal speeches, but I will finish there, and yeah, we will get straight into it with the Distaff. Daniel, this market looks very different to how it started at the beginning of the year with Torpedo Anna and Good Cheer a lot further up. They seem to have disappeared, and we will start with Seismic Beauty, who we put up a few weeks ago. I want to say 12-1.
Nines, I think.
Nines.
It was double figures. By the time we wrote in the article, it was nines. Yeah, 9-1 our follows are on.
Yeah. So best price 7-2, with MGM and Virgin 5-2. The rest of the bookmakers, if I remember correctly, definitely going here. What do you make of Seismic Beauty's chance?
Well, the first thing to say about this is if you look at column 4, bookmaker, I've got these in red. Seismic Beauty, Nitrogen, Dorth Vader. These are the bookmakers who have not caught up with the fact that the second horse, Cavalieri, was pulled out last night. So the 7-2 for Seismic Beauty, the 5-1 Nitrogen, the 8-1 Dorth Vader are false prices, or rather, they're real. But when those tooling bookmakers get wind of things, they'll cut. You're right. Seismic Beauty is now best 5-2. My personal guess, if you put a gun to my head, I reckon this horse will, and I had to name a price, I'd say Seismic Beauty will start at 6-4 or 7-4 for this race. So if anybody can get on and get MGM Virgin 7-2 before it goes, do so.
Perfect. And any word on why Cavalieri was withdrawn by Bob Baffert?
No. It's the weirdest thing. A journalist broke the story just with a text from Baffert who said she's going to need a long rest or easy list or something like that. When journalists asked for more information, it wasn't forthcoming. Maybe that now this is all coming out in the US as they're now sort of in their morning, and the story will come out. But I don't know why Cavalieri was out. She's very lightly raced, won her prep brilliantly, but she is out. She will not race. So yeah, don't go anywhere near her.
Okay. Yeah. Well pointed out. So shall we move on to Nitrogen then, who is next in the betting at 5-1? Quick word on her then at fives.
Yeah, real price 4-1 when MGM and Virgin go. She will be your second favourite, probably. She and Torpedo Anna coming out of the same race. Torpedo Anna was favourite. Nitrogen was second favourite. They're both beaten by an outsider. We'll come to later. Nitrogen was very close to getting the money on the wire, but didn't. Still slightly disappointing. But she keeps on putting in good efforts. She's done grass and she's done dirt. And she's, I suppose, one of the more obvious threats. I'm not particularly interested in sort of 4-1, 7-2, wherever else she is elsewhere. But you won't get 5-1 for long, I reckon, when MGM Virgin done that thing.
Okay, what about Dorth Vader? What is her best price when you take MGM and Virgin out?
Best 6s elsewhere. That's kind of reasonable. No more. 8 is good. She was within a nose of Torpedo Anna 2 races back, and that's when the Torpedo Anna was presumably in some sort of form. This is a good filly, and personally, I think she's the bigger threat to Seismic Beauty than Nitrogen. 8 is great. Even 6 is good. The bold might go each way with 3 weeks to go. With these fillies dropping like flies, maybe that's wise. But yeah, she's an obvious challenger.
Okay, then yeah, as you just mentioned, Torpedo Anna, her form seems to have dipped quite considerably. And you've also got the question mark and X next to her name in the runner category. Is she not likely to turn up to the Breeders' Cup at all? I know there was mention of the Classic earlier in the season. What's going on for that?
Yeah, there was more mention of the Classic last year, and then she became Horse of the Year. She didn't go that. She won a very weak distaff. Maybe at the beginning of the season, they're still thinking of it, but she hasn't. She hasn't impressed this year with anything on the clock, and indeed the manner of her victories. But then last time was absolutely dire. She was in a big 8 lengths. She didn't look interested. They have all but retired her. They've done vet scans to see what might be wrong. But the latest news yesterday was she's probably run her last race. I'm sure that's code for with the fuller retirement announcements to come.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain she won't run. The door is open ajar, but she was so dire last time. I don't think she'd make any appeal if she did come. Even though I don't think she won't. In some way, though, that's why this market is really quite interesting. Cavalier is not going. Torpedo Anna is almost certainly not going. So you know, Seismic Beauty, Nitrogen, Dorth Vader, those are your 3 market leaders.
Okay, and then any of the outsiders, do they appeal?
Very briefly, Immersive was last year's champion juvenile filly, but she hasn't looked the same filly this season. She's had a poor run, then she was on a break. She came back and won a wheat race last time. I can't find any news flow she's going, and most bookmakers don't list her. So I have doubts whether she'll go. Clicquot won a trial. Wouldn't normally be interested in her, but so many are falling out. She's interesting. But they haven't yet, hence the red question mark, they haven't yet confirmed they will go. I think with Cavalieri out, that's another reason to go. But Scottish Lassie can put in a brilliant race every so often, and that brilliant race puts her in the mix. Jin as a false price, I think she's best 12s, possibly even 10s. She was the one that upset Torpedo Anna and Nitrogen. Take that literally, she's got a massive chance, but she's twice in her life produced big upsets, only never to repeat it for the next couple of races afterwards. So not impossible, but yeah. That price, as I say, MGM Virgin won't last because she's going to go. Kopion is not running in this race. She's quoted by a few people. We'll talk about her with the sprints. Dry Powder's going. I'm not particularly interested. Scylla is on the fence. She might be interesting as an each way player if she goes, but she's not yet going. Last one really mentioned of interest is Sarawak Rim. This is an Argentinian filly for Ignacio Corrias. This guy won the distaff with Blue Prize. It was also an Argentinian import. Argentinians can do well in this race. I've just got half an eye on this horse. 33-1. I think she's too long. I think she's an almost certain starter.
Okay, cool. Well, that was a brief wrap of the distaff, a field that looks set to cut up, and that could bring some outsiders into play. Next, we will look at is the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Without trying to pat ourselves on the back too greatly, another horse at the front of the market that we put up at a bigger price, Bentornato. I think we put him up at 16s.
I think you're right. I think it was 16s, but when we sent out the article and the tweets, I think bookmakers read it more or less the same time as most of our followers. So I think a handful got on, but others would have had to take 12s or 10s. But he keeps on coming down.
Yeah. Any value still at 4s?
I think it'd probably go off short than that. I mean, it's a sprint, and there are other good horses in this. I'm not sure I'd rush in now, even though I wouldn't be surprised if he started at sort of 3-1. But yeah, he's the solid market leader.
And if you're looking to hedge, would Imagination come into play at 5-1?
We tweeted out a week ago. I didn't have a chance to write an article. They priced this horse up at 10-1 after he was a really impressive winner of a winner you're in for this race in California. Bob Baffert's. He's really sort of imagined this, reinvented this guy from a sort of miler type. He was always talented, but last time he looked like a world beater almost. He won it easily, cruising past decent competition, including Straight No Chaser, the defending champion, who's fourth on this list. I still don't think it's not the worst price in the world. With Baffert's horses, there's another one. So Cavalier is out injured. There's another one we'll talk out who might be a doubt. With what's going on in that stable, maybe he's one to wait on a bit longer rather than play. But yeah, I think he's got a big chance.
Okay. Nysos is next in betting at 11-2, but it looks likely that he'll head to the Mare.
Two questions about Nysos. One is last words per Baffert was, we're going to the dirt mile, but it's not impossible I change my mind. And that's kind of what Baffert does. He plays games. It's sort of, a bit like, you know, Willie Mullins might sort of at the last minute turn things on their head just for a surprise. I don't think he will do that. I think he's got imagination for this. I don't think Nysos is a sprinter. The other reason that you want to avoid Nysos like the plague, apart from the fact he probably won't go here, is that there's just a slight question mark over his well-being. We'll come more to that on the dirt mile.
Okay, Straight No Chaser is next in the betting and is an indicated runner as per the table. 8-1. Does that provide any value?
I think that is close to being a bit of value, though he's had issues in the past. Wait till you get a bit closer to the race. He won this last year from Bentornato. He's a really good sprinter. They took him out to Dubai. He flopped in a race we liked him for, indeed. Then he hasn't been seen for 7 months after that, or 6 months after that. Then he comes back and is beaten by Imagination. Imagination won that very easily, but Straight No Chaser only gave up in the last half furlong where he looked to tire. That, to me, smacks of a horse who needed the race. So I think he's a big player. 8 is big, but I'd still hold off from backing him.
Okay, Tamara is next in the betting, but I suspect we'll talk about her in more detail in the next race, the Filly Mare Sprint, because that is where she is intended to run, correct?
Correct. Richard Mandela owns two really good filly sprinters, Tamara and the next down Kopion. They were both thought to be coming here, and then he dropped a bombshell 48 hours ago that Kopion, because he's now got obviously 2 good sprinters, and he was thinking of splitting them up. He will, if he splits them up, it's Kopion who will go to the sprint, as in the all gender, mainly male sprint. So that's why she's a question mark here. He won't send Tamara here. Tamara will go to the filly and mare sprint.
Okay.
So both these present risks, but I will say about the Kopion price. This is interesting. David Aragona, the morning line maker for the New York's races, has done advanced morning line odds for the Breeders' Cup races, and he's put up Kopion at 5-2, as in that's his expected price as what she'd be for this race, i.e. favourite or vying for favouritism with Bentornato if she goes. 8 is big, and I think I might have made an error there. I think I wrote 8 bet 365 last night, checked it again before we went on air now, and I think Hills might be offering 10s. That's big for people who like their risk. And he said, I might switch her to this race, as in, I don't know what percentage that is. But for people who like playing dangerous games, 10s is huge if available. I think it is 10s with Hills.
Okay.
Maybe when I'm next rambling about something, you could check that for our viewers.
Yeah. So any of the outsiders at double figure odds of interest in the sprint?
As you can see, Patch Adams, no, he's quoted by so many people for this in the dirt mile. He's injured, he's retired, I think. He will not be here. Mullikin is a good sprinter. He's been beaten up a couple of times this season by Bookham Dano, who's America's big sprinter, who is not coming here for reasons I won't go into. It's all quite strange. Mullikin is pretty good. He was terrible last time against Bookham Dano and sort of faded right out of it. But he has put in good ones in the past. 10s looks quite big to me. Captain Cook is only quoted by one bookmaker. I can't find any evidence that he is going here, but I can't find any evidence that he isn't. And he's quite popular horse. He's run very, very well in his last couple of races. If he came here, he'd be a danger, but don't go near him until we find out more. Patrick Spirit won a decent win and you're in. The time wasn't slow, but it looked good on the eye. Dr. Venkman's a good horse, but I think we'll almost certainly go for the dirt mile. Nakatomi want to prep for this. I fancied him for the sprint last year, and I think he was 4th, 5th, or maybe even 6th. He's pretty dull. He did win an important sprint a couple of weeks ago for this. He will go, but that was a slow time, and he doesn't know the horse he was. I don't like it. American stage, Japanese, not good enough. Lovesick Blues upset a big win and you're in race, a G1 race, in fact, and is going to run tonight over the grass because the horse is so fit and firing. They just want to get the excess energy out of him. So see how he runs in Century tonight. That's slightly weird. He has a thing on the grass. Banishing is a good horse. 25-1 looks long. Let's see if he goes.
Okay, excellent. That is a quick wrap up of the sprint. Fingers will be crossed for Bentornato, especially with the followers that were able to get on at 16s. We'll switch over to the Filly and Mare version where we will touch on couple of the horses that were previously mentioned. As we said, Kopion is at the front of the market at 3-1, but probably 50-50, or however you'd like to interpret Mandela's comments as to whether she goes or not. So in that case, we should move on to Sweet Azteca, who is 10-3 with Bet365. Not quite a certain runner.
Yeah, let's actually start with the cluster of the big three in the European betting markets, because they're all massive question marks. Ways and Means will not run. She's still quoted by one or two big makers. Just avoid her. She's on the injury list. She won't be at the Breeders' Cup, so that's not in the race. Kopion, as you said, is now 50-50 or whatever percentage it is. He's thinking of switching it to other race, so she's a very dangerous and a really bad bet. Sweet, you might think therefore Sweet Azteca might be a good bet. She missed a work the other day, and she has a history of injury. She's very, very talented. Her wins to runs ratio is fantastic. She had one flop before the Breeders' Cup last year, and they decided not to run the Breeders' Cup. This year, no flop, but just with her history of injuries, I'd want to hear more news flow about her. The interesting prices come below.
So I missed that. The interesting prices.
Yeah, come further down the betting.
Come
The
further.
big three, for various reasons, don't appeal. Yeah.
And is Hope Road one of those of an interesting price?
Yeah, Hope Road and Tamara are both perfectly reasonable prices. I think is one or two or even possibly three of the front three on this table won't go. So Hope Road is dangerous for Baffert. I didn't think much of her last year, and she was spanked by Tamara a couple of times. She's a better horse this year. Ran a sort of won a famous prep race for this quite well. I think she'll run well. I still think though I'll pick Tamara, which we put up. Was it last week?
Yes.
Yeah. That was another case of the price crashing immediately we pointed it out. Do you remember what it was?
I don't. No.
I think it was double figures. Anyway, sevens I still think is a reasonable price. The Flutter Pair, Sky and PP are out on a limb on this. So if you weren't on Tamara before, I think Tamara's a perfectly reasonable bet here.
Splendora next in the betting, not fully certain to run as well.
Not fully certain. She's only quoted by one bookmaker. I thought she was going to run. She's definitely not. Baffert's number one for this. I think probably Richie below her he'd probably rank her above the betting. Richie was running over long distance, but Baffert's going to bring her back in trip for the sprint. Splendora has won really well last time out. It was much lower level. Okay, but as I say, I'm just can't find much information on her definitely going. Otherwise, I won't go too much in the others. They've all got tiny squeaks. But Safi Joseph, owns a couple of them based down in Gulfstream. But one of those are disaster would be a doubt to go. Hall in Ice hasn't run good figures. Praying again, won a poor prep for this. Vava as a shadow her former self, but is now 20-1 and will go for this. Was beaten in one of those preps. Only other one I draw your attention to is Fille Blanche. Still trying to find out about this horse coming over from Japan. Always respect Japanese horses traveling to Breeders' Cup, particularly to the West Coast, where they've done very well in the past. So I've had a little tinkle on Fille Blanche. I can't quite get a handle on what her form rating would be with these. I think probably a cut below, but I don't think these people are just wasting the playing money. So Fille Blanche interested me at 25-1, particularly coming to the top of the market in a race likely to cut up.
Okay, I've had a little tinkle on as a new phrase for putting a bet on. I've not heard that one before.
I'm not sure where I plucked that noun from. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, a very interesting market. If you remove the top three from the betting, then yeah, it's going to be there's plenty of value to be had. So keep your eyes on the news flow to see who turns up, and Kopion will be a big deciding factor in that. Finally, we'll move on to the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. And again, we have Nysos mentioned within the betting. He's more likely to run here than the sprints. But as you said, we don't exactly know with Bob Baffert. But if he is to turn up here 3-1, it looks a bit skinny, doesn't it?
No, I think if he were to run there, Well, maybe it's a fair price. It possibly looks fair to a bit skinny for me. But in terms of what he'll actually start, there's a sort of mystique about this horse. When he's run, which is not very often for a 4-year-old, so he had sort of 4 runs or something, possibly 5. When he has looked absolutely brilliant. But there's this question mark over a missed work. And what with Baffert playing teasing games about, I might decide to send him to the sprint, I don't think you want to go anywhere near him as a bet.
Okay.
Now,
Patch Adams next in the betting, it's not running.
Retired. He's kept it by a few bookmakers. I have him there just to warn people, if they're looking through. This horse is out. Patch Adams, yeah.
And full Serrano we put up, I think was it earlier this week or maybe at the end of last week, is now into 6-1. Does that still represent value?
I think it's fair to pushing attractive. I mean, fine, we put him up at was it 10s or something? I can't remember. That looked a no-brainer for last year's really good winner of this race. He was beaten last time by a really talented horse who's going in the Classic, very unexposed horse. But that was beaten, up the road at Santa Anita when his Del Mar record is just totally stellar. Plus, it was over 9 furlongs. I don't think he wanted the extra furlong. It was a shame he was beaten, but for them to push his price out. He looks like one of the more reliable types. If you look at the top 6 in the betting, he's the only black tick, as in barring obviously later injury. This horse will be there. I cannot say that about any of the other 6 in the top 6 in the betting. So that alone, to me, makes 6-1 look still value. I could imagine him being shorter.
Okay, and mind frame. The question marks that because they could well go to the Classic.
Absolutely right.
The same with Locked.
And the same with Antiquarian, but on acid, as it were, in terms of a likelihood of turning up. Because Antiquarian, I haven't heard absolutely no rumour anywhere that Antiquarian will go for this. He's got lots of stamina, that horse. He's definitely going for the Classic over 10 furlongs, not this 8 furlongs. Mind frame, as things stand, the narrative is he's going for the Classic. However, he's co-owned, partly co-owned by the same guy, Mike Rapoli, who owns Fierceness, who's second or third favourite for the Classic. In the back of my mind and other people's minds is surely there's a chance they'll send Mindframe, who's mustered over a mile as well, and probably better. He's not proven. He's never won a race over 10 furlongs. They must be thinking about going to this race. If they change their mind and run Mindframe here, you halve that price. He's vying for favoritism with Nysos, probably ahead of full Serrano. But at the moment, the narrative is Classic. So risky bet. Locked, again, that's a different ownership group completely. They want to go for the Classic. At the back of their minds, not impossible they'll change their mind. But, if Nysos is fit and this race, all the others turn up here, maybe they'll stick with the Classic plan. Just don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting with the Classic looking so strong this year. You do wonder if trainers and owners will be persuaded to look at the easier option. But that brings us down to White Abarrio, who actually won the Classic. Was it 2 years ago now? 10-1 with multiple bookmakers for this race. Does that represent a good price?
Some people think White Abarrio has gone at the game. I'm not quite sure. I thought he was gone at the game, in the sort of middle of last year. And he goes back to Sassy Joseph from Rick Dutroux, who with whom he won the Breeders' Cup Classic. And then Joseph gets him he was brilliant in the Pegasus, wasn't it? Yeah. Last time out, fourth, faded. But that's a complete throw-out race. That was the race that I think we described on a previous pod where White Abarrio was one of the horses incredibly impeded in the first furlong by a really dangerous jockey maneuver who wiped out a number of horses. Mindframe lost his rider. The rider was at one point holding on to Mindframe's reins and White Abarrio's reins. White Abarrio's race was ruined. I think he is quite dangerous. And with all these ones above him, 10-1 is... 10-1 is big. I'd say the same point about Citizen Bull for Baffert, who over this course and more or less this distance, perhaps half an eighth of the furlong later, won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year. 12s looks awfully big for me for Citizen Bull. He was a 6-length blowout winner last time. He's very lightly raced this season after sort of started on the Derby Trail, didn't go well, but he's had a few months off. Just the one race since, and Yeah, those two look overpriced in a way, dangerous. I don't believe either of them will be double figures when we get to Del Mar in 3 weeks' time. That same point could apply about Mystik Dan, Derby winner, who's had a bad time of it since, but just his last 2 races, he's got good again. He won a decent race last time, 12-1. He's paid at 6-1 on the morning line by David Aragona for this race. The advanced predictive DRF line, and so. Yeah, those are the 3 I would expect to crash in price if all of these, question marks, your mind frames, your locked, your antiquarians, if they do indeed all go for the classic. Those are the 3 that'll come in. Only other one I'd mention is Chancellor McPatrick, the complete outsider at 33-1. He's got few races in locker that could see him run really well in this. It's his last race before going to stud. I think he's dangerous.
Yeah, was he favourite for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year?
Yeah, we put him up as a recommendation
Yeah.
at a decent price, and the value was got, but the horse didn't do the running, so
Yes.
that was the end of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I
then
remember
he
that.
was, I don't know, starting, I don't know, was he 5-2 or 3-1 or something like that, and
Yeah.
now he's 33, so that's a whole different ballgame.
Exactly, very much so. Well, okay, that is the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, and that is now all 5 of the dirt races from the Saturday discussed and talked through. We've got a full classic preview. If you haven't watched that, please go to our site and watch it, where we run for every horse that's likely to be in contention for the classic. Let us know if you like the format. Something new, something different. Let us know what information you'd like to hear more about, so that we can try and get in. And and unless you've got anything more to say, Daniel, I guess that is it. We're looking to do a podcast Monday evening for the Champions Day, heading back across the pond to more local, familiar waters with the racing from Ascot next weekend, which looks to be the race of the season in the Champion Stakes with the New Set Delacroix is going. Can't wait for that. So look forward to speaking to you Monday. Daniel, looks like you want to say something.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, just one more thing. I just wanted to give people the heads up on that price, high risk play. Kopion, I mistyped that. Kopion is 10-1 with William Hills for the sprint. She may not go there. She may go for the filly and mare sprint. But yeah, as I say, the interesting that David Aragona's predictive odds is 5-2. So anyone who wants to play a potential high risk play to get a 10-1 shot at a much shorter price, she'll definitely be south of 5-1. No question about that. I don't know if she'll be as low as 5-2, but for those who want to court high risk, Kopion 10-1 sprint is interesting. I'm not joking. I am going to cycle down to my local branch of William Hill when we've stopped recording to take that.
Yeah, I might take it. So by the time this goes out, I don't know whether there'll still be 10-1s any left, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. But okay, right. Well, thank you very much, and we look forward to chatting again on Monday evening. Goodbye.